Inec have finally been exposed, my country people. This video is what exposed the fraudulent act of Inec in Edo State. Just what?
That democracy is totally gone from Nigeria, because this particular video has sparked so many reactions. You will not believe the level of rigging that Inec carried out in Edo State election. According to an expert who came to Arise News with concrete evidence to back up his statement, forensic analysis of Edo State
Gbegbe. It don't set. The fraudulent act of Inec in Nigeria. Now Edo State I go make the whole world know them as Tiffy Tiffy Jankoriko. Inec, Ondo, get ready. Ondo State, get ready, because the fraudulent act through Inec, they are coming to your state. They want to come to your state to start using barrow to change results for you and position anybody from their party. Hey, Ondo, open your eyes. Don't sleep. Hey, aspect of forensic founding or analysis, you might call it. What is forensic finding? This refers to results or conclusions that is being drawn from forensic investigation. In this context of fraud, forensic finding are the evidence and insights uncovered during a forensic audit or investigation that indicates fraudulent activities, like what happened in Edo State and during presidential election. Forensic audits and fraud are this. These are detailed examination of forensic record to detect and to investigate fraudulent acts, like what Inec officials did against Nigeria during that presidential election, and what they also went to Edo State, Benin City, to demonstrate that fraudulent act. There's arrive machine, there's beaver machine. Why using hand to change results if they are not being paid to continue to abort the interest of the people, that led to different confusion on the mind of the citizens? We are not seeing in the society. Are we going to talk about a lot of calamity that is befalling the nation? They are the resultant effect of what all the action of the Inec to change the interest of the people, the expectation of the people, aborting it, broad daylight, CBCU, koro. So all this, so the forensic audit investigate fraud, not only fraud. It also investigate any embezzlement or other financial misconduct in a society. Nigerians wise and continue to follow all this due process in order for you to see monkey hand where they resemble human being in everything they are doing against you. So this system, it go beyond regular audit by diving deeper. The scripture help us to understand. He said the deep call unto the deep. Hey, it go deeper into record to uncover, open. He say is a glory of God to cover or to cover secrets. Yes, and is a honor of a king to uncover. So this system, it uncover illegal activities that will go on. There's what we call fraud detection on this system. Forensic audits use various techniques, including forensic analysis, to identify pattern and anomalies that suggest fraudulent behaviors or acts. This can involve analyzing financial transactions, reviewing documents, and interviewing personnel. This forensic finding, you can see we are now in the world of technology. Nobody can just do you pay like that without no results coming out. These forensic findings from these audits can be used as an evidence in legal proceeding. So that is why I'm begging Nigeria judiciary system to remain impute, because the international community, they are watching you. You saw the result they have brought out. So all this will, because when the reputation of iniquity continue like this, immoral continue like this, nation will crumble without nobody pushing her. So this an evidence. This forensic finding from these audits can be used as an evidence. We don't need anybody to come say this one, say evidence, legal evidence, to proceeding to persecute fraudsters and recover lost assets, in order to bring normality to every abnormality going on in the Nigeria, for crying out loud. Since all these fraudulent acts took place in that election, can't you see what it has attracted to the state? The children, we are all human. There's a lot of insecurity on the land as I'm talking to you, because whenever there's a fraudulent act going on, abnormality going on, it will attract negative consequences to the society. So my fellow Nigerians and my good people of Edo State, let us appreciate all these expertise who work as far to this extent. This is what the answer we have been long waiting for, the evidence we have been long waiting for, in order for we to take our mandate back. Listen to the rest of the segment, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please better go and subscribe. Hit the notification bell for more updates. Thank you, and bye.
That democracy is totally gone from Nigeria, because this particular video has sparked so many reactions. You will not believe the level of rigging that Inec carried out in Edo State election. According to an expert who came to Arise News with concrete evidence to back up his statement, forensic analysis of Edo State election results that proves figures were truly manifestly written and computed by one Inec official, leaving many wondering, is there free and fair election in Nigeria before? A funny thing is that this one is a tip of an iceberg compared to what we will experience in 2027. One person wrote all the results that were used. Well, according to the saying, every day for the thief, one day for the owner. Kindly take a listen on how the forensic expert releases shocking revelation on how INEC rigged the just concluded Edo governorship election, and let us know what you think about it in the comments.
At the Initiative for Citizens Development, led by Nigerian human rights lawyer Martins Obono, has reviewed the recent Edo elections and identified significant irregularities, including voter inducement, intimidation, and overvoting. Shockingly, TAP found that INEC allegedly engaged in voter fraud by printing a second set of result sheets, replacing the originals, visible on IREV and agent copies, with forgeries bearing the same serial numbers but different outcomes. Joining us now on the morning show is Martins Obono, a lawyer and executive director of TAP Initiative for Citizens Development. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
Good morning. Right, now, after that, big introduction, and you have embarked on a fact-finding mission to understand what really transpired with the Edo State election. I first want to understand what your motivation is. Who are you and why have you gone on a mission with all of these documents and all of the evidence to try and understand what happened during the election?
So TAP Initiative is a non-governmental organization that is into democracy and good governance, and we also do a lot of work around accountability and holding institutions of government accountable, justice reforms, judicial reforms, and Inec as well. And we've recently been in the forefront of trying to reform Inec to also change the burden of proof from saying that the people who conduct an election should actually have the burden to prove that they conducted the elections correctly. And if you don't do that, we'll continue to go around the silos to say, whenever a candidate loses an election, he then has to prove, or he or she has to prove that he lost the elections, when the burden should actually be placed on Inec. And because of this, it is very incumbent to say, you know what, we need to really go into what happens in Inec. Inec is actually the institution that gatekeeps the admission or the recruitment process that brings the key players of our democracy into light. And if Inec doesn't do well, or is not held accountable or responsible for the things that they do, our democracy would definitely crumble in the nearest future, because there will be no hope anymore. So we then discovered, because we also followed the elections critically, I was in the situation room of Lead Africa in Abuja when people were on the field, and we saw the kind of things that were happening. And when I saw the results, it was quite interesting to see what then was announced, or when we were watching and following the results. So it became much more interesting to find out what really happened. And then we made applications to the Inec to say, okay, can we get the results you're using to announce the elections at the state level, because they don't seem to tally from what we are actually seeing on ground. And that showed that agent results at the polling units matched what was on IREV. However, what was then announced at the state level was then different, especially from the local government level to the state level. But what you then see is that you see, for example, they printed the same result sheet. So from EC8A and EC8B.
That's what's actually shown on screen. So you can see side by side.
Exactly.
On the left-hand side is what you obtained from IREV.
Yes.
And the right-hand side is the CTC, certified true copy, that you obtained from Inec.
Absolutely.
All right, okay.
So if you look at both of them, you will see that the one that was on IREV has agent's signature, right? Yeah. It also has the same serial number as the one that Inec later used to collate the result at the state level.
Okay.
But what happens is that there is no signature of the agents on the result sheets that was then used later to collate at this. So it was doctored. And if you look at the numbers, they are totally different, the voting. So you see what was allocated to Labour Party is different from what Labour Party had. What allocated to APC is different from. So we need to hold INEC responsible, because if we do not hold INEC responsible now, we are going to, this is going to form a template for Ondo State and subsequent elections and the general elections, and we'll go back to where we are actually coming from, where things are not, people do not then have the right to exercise and vote the kind of person that should lead them. Yeah. Because one of the critical powers that I think that democracy has given to us, apart from the power to choose your religion and to choose who you follow, it should be the power to choose who governs you, who votes you. That is very critical. And so if INEC is now the institution that is denying us, or denying the people, the power to actually choose who leads them, then we are doomed, I think, as a nation.
Well, thank you very much for this. And I'm glad that TAP Initiative for Citizens Development has taken this up. And I believe that Nigerians should take a keen interest in this. Like you said, it's not just for now. For posterity's sake, it's important to get the facts right. And IREV, the introduction of IREV through the Electoral Act of 2022 is meant to strengthen our electoral processes. This means that what is put on IREV should be able to match what the CTC. But from the documents before me, none of the documents match. So I think we've seen that on the screen, whereby what's on the left is, even though from the same state, local government area, registration area, polling unit, vastly different. The numbers are different. You've already highlighted some of the key things that you mentioned, but tell us, following this, just a simple analysis of what you obtained on IREV and CTC, there's stark differences, but you then went on further to do a forensic audit on the signature. What were your findings? What did you find out?
Okay, so if you also look at, using that example, if you look at the signature, you realize that the person, the returning officer, the presiding officer, sorry, that's a different signature because they hurriedly rigged the elections. I mean, this is very appalling because what we normally see before now is that political parties rig elections through overvoting and other means and all that, maybe tearing ballot boxes or ballot papers and mutilating them. But this is institutional rigging perpetrated by Inec, and this should be a concern for everyone. So if you look at it, you'll see that the signatures are different. Not just that, we contacted one of the best forensic experts in handwriting in South Africa. He is the one who actually verifies whether Nelson Mandela's signatures are actually original since he passed. So he's the one who identifies that. So he's an expert, and this is his expert statement to us. The statement was released to us, or the examination report was released to us on the 29th of October, 2 days ago. And that's why we haven't come public, because we're waiting for that result to happen. Now, if you look at this is his report, right? Q1, Q2, Q3. You will identify that it was one person in Inec who sat down and did all this handwriting.
According to the forensic report.
According to the forensic report. So if you look at it, Q1, Q2, the same thing that he used to write this. So if you see 20, his 20 is the same, his 3 is the same, with everything across board. So I'll give you the forensic examination report and you look at it. So it is appalling. And I think this should frighten everybody. If we do not want to practice a democracy, we should just say we don't want a democracy. We just want to appoint people to go and sit. We shouldn't be budgeting billions of naira to organize an election that INEC will bundle. We shouldn't raise the hopes of people to say that you should come out and vote, participate in an elections, do your civic responsibilities and perform your duties, and INEC will bundle that. That is frustrating, and that would actually lead Nigeria to mayhem if we are not careful in the nearest future. So for us as an organization, we are not stopping here. What we are actually going to do now is to file this to ICPC. ICPC has to charge and prosecute these people for the criminality that they are perpetrating, from both the INEC rec down to the presiding officer and everybody that is involved, including the head of legal in Benin City, in Benin, who is actually the one who issued the CTC copies to us and to every other person that has actually applied. So we are taking this up, and we don't take it lightly at all, because the will of the people must prevail, and people should be determined enough to choose. I mean, people should be the ones to determine who leads them. And it's very, I'm surprised, basically, because political parties, the opposition parties, are just there. They are not serious about, after conducting an elections, following through things to the little and the details of it. They just feel elections are over and everybody just goes back home. Maybe just go to court and do one or two things. But I think that politicians and political parties need to be invested in this thing, because if citizens give you the trust and feel like they should support you, they give you their money, they give you their time, they give you their vote, they invest their emotions in your campaign, you owe them that duty to protect that mandate and that love and translate it to something tangible and meaningful. Whatever it takes. People cannot be risking their lives going out and be shot or killed or beaten on the queues of polling units, and then elections are over, you just sit down, fold your arms, and don't do anything. You should be held responsible for that.
I've got a question. You've got some documents there that are written irregular. Well, what are the irregularities that you spotted?
Okay, so this is the entire irregularities that we checked, that we were able to get. So there are over 136 of them in just one local government.
Wow.
Yes, so it shows that the irregularities range from overvoting.
So these are from the various wards?
Yes.
The irregularities.
Can
you walk us through them? So besides overvoting, What are the irregularities that you came across?
There was overvoting. There was also the discrepancies in the certified true copies that they issued and the ones that we had, and then there was also the cancellation of results and mutilating them essentially to show, oh, this party got this. They were allocating votes also to parties that didn't have votes as well, and they were deducting votes and adding votes for themselves as well. So it was just overvoting also, and there was also the fact that the results that were on the BVAS machine, or the numbers that were on BVAS machine, that shows that people actually were accredited. There was more. So it also showed that people, they kind of like mingled with that as well. So there are too many vote buying inclusive. I mean, I don't want to go into all that details of vote buying because it looks like we are now used to vote buying and we are used to overvoting and all that.
But I mean,
this is
vote buying from this.
No, there are pictures.
Okay.
There are pictorial evidence as well. So, but I just couldn't bring all those ones together. So there are pictures and videos of people exchanging monies and getting on all parties. I'm not saying now that this party did this one, all parties. So it's not a case of this. We are here to say we are supporting this party. It happened, and INEC looked away. Police, security agencies looked away. But what I'm then trying to say is that INEC should be held responsible for what happened in Edo State. It should be held responsible for what transpired in Edo State, because this in itself is criminality. And ICPC has to do their job this time around. And we are not going to let them breathe until they do their job and prosecute people, because electoral offenders are not held accountable in this country. And that's why we continue to go back and forth in this circle. The elections of 2023 were almost like the elections of 2007. What kind of progress have we made as a country?
Despite the Electoral Act.
Despite the Electoral Act. Despite the Electoral Act. And the good thing about the Electoral Act is that the Electoral Act keeps checkmating politicians. And then politicians are now, INEC is now the one.
Yeah. Well, you know what, I hope this will be made public soon so that people can pore over it and analyze, this is great work that you've done. And I wish you success moving forward with regards to pursuing this and just restoring some semblance of normalcy and transparency and fairness in the electoral system. Thank you so much, Barrister Martins Obono of TAP Initiative.
Thank you for having me.